Oh my goodness, I really do appreciate you for just agreeing to do this video for me. You're so silly. OMG.
You're the one
Why are you laughing? I can't even move anymore. Why are you laughing?
That's not what's up saying. Like, where did the singing come from? I just don't know where it come from. Let me share my screen. I done went and switched to another tab when I should have been sharing screen. Did I do
Okay, yeah, I see your screen, sir. I see your screen. Financial responsibility.
Tithing and budgeting, because that's what you said. Well, that's what we're going to talk about. I'm surprised that you like what I sent you. I sent it to you. I'm like, she's not going to like the color. It don't match her hair. It don't match her background. It don't match nothing. You like, oh, this is perfect. See, that's how I know God is real. That's how I know God is real. Thank you.
It's the small things, huh?
Hallelujah. It's those small things. Because I struggled with this.
Really?
It is. Only because, you have so much going on and you have all of this creativity.
So I told you to do it because I know your background. And, when I seen that PowerPoint, I was actually very happy because, not everything needs to be all dramatic. I wanted to keep it very simple, which you did,
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Let me share this little tidbit. See, because I have read the Bible. I have read it. And I'm going to tell you this, write the vision, make it plain. And I apply that when it comes to business, when it's simple and plain, because in personal finance, the issue I have is jargon is great, but it can also be used to exclude people. Because if you use a bunch of words that are not familiar to you, you're going to be turned off by it. So I like to make sure everything is real simplistic and plain so that even a 5-year-old can get basic concepts. Because for me, that's very
exactly
important when you're educating. I don't ever want it to sound like I'm only speaking to a certain group of people, when being fiscally or financially responsible is something that you can do whether you're earning 10,000 or 6 figures. So tithing is 2 parts. It's biblical. And Shirley, you're going to have to tell me the scripture because I don't know where it is.
It's actually found in Deuteronomy.
Oh, you was prepared, minister. Go on now. Come on, Jesus.
Yeah, so it's in Deuteronomy 14, and it's talking about tithing. And, from my personal experience of tithing, I tithe because I like to just be obedient to God. And I also understand that with the tithes and stuff that I do give, that it also help, the church and the organization and different things that is needed. Because a lot of times when people think about the church, they don't think about the tissue that's in the bathroom. They don't think about the cleaning supplies. They don't think about the light bill, the gas bill, they don't think about all those different things. The same things that responsibilities that you have in your own house. So for me, I feel like my church is my house too. So, when I give, in my tithes, I'm doing it out of obedience to God, but I'm also doing it because I feel that that's my Father's house and that's my responsibility to take care of my Father's house and what's needed in his house, because it's not just his house, it's my house, because, that's my Father.
Right. That's very good. So the other aspect of tithing is charitable giving. And your church or religious organization is set up, most of them are set up as a 501c3, which is basically just a designation provided by the IRS that says this organization does not exist for profit. It exists to people. And so because of this, the church itself doesn't pay taxes because of that designation. When you give your tithes, you get something that you can deduct from your taxes, which is a good thing. Statements to people. And lady was like, I don't want that. And I'm looking at her like, first of all, I put these together, ma'am. Please take this, please. And then she's like, no. And her thing was like, I don't give to get. She's like, when I give unto the Lord. so I shouldn't receive anything in return from it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we all have that. I just said, okay, and just let it be what it's going to be, because that's her path.
Mm-hmm.
The part of, well, for me, the thing is being a blessing, and giving is a blessing.
It definitely is.
Giving is, you also need to be able to receive as well when a blessing comes. The blessing of being able to give your tithes, of course, is not just about being able to deduct it from your taxes, like you said, Shirley, because I've been in a situation where, okay, well, we got to pay this, we got to pay that. I would say this real quick. I've had people say, Sam, how come we ain't pay this? I said, because people don't tithe enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, well, I had to decide which bill we going to pay. So here's a question that, I've gotten all the time. So should I tithe 10% of my gross or net income? And so, Shirley, I would like to hear what your response is, and then I'll share mine.
Okay, so my response is, if you got $35,000 a year, that's how much you're supposed to get a year before taxes and all that. So I would say 10% off of that, because in the scripture in Deuteronomy, it's saying, basically off the first fruit.
Right. So I really agree with you in that aspect. And I've heard people say, well, I don't get it, so I'm not tithing it. Number one, I look at it this way. Your tithe, it has that biblical component, which is important. But then also, this is a place where you worship. This is a place where you fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
Your house has expenses. There are expenses here too. You should support the house that gives you something. When you go to church, you go the song, the sermon, even though now we're doing things virtually, there's still bills that need to be paid.
Exactly.
And if this is a place that you worship and you love, and I love my church and all of that, then you give to where your heart is.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you could pay your bills with love and hope and a prayer, that's what we all would do. Just from a financial perspective, the ability to deduct it from your taxes, which I think is a blessing, because you always want to pay as less or as little in taxes as possible legally.
Mm-hmm.
So should you claim your tithes on your taxes? I kind of gave my answer already.
For me, I always feel that because how taxes is set up, is considered a donation. Mm-hmm. So I would claim that and everything else that I do as a donation. So for me, I claim it's all together as one. But here's the thing. Just because you may claim a portion, don't mean that you're claiming all. Because I know there's times when I literally would just give. I don't put my name on an envelope. I do it in cash, and I do it on purpose. Or let's say you're out in the community. You buy somebody a meal. You pay for somebody groceries or whatever. Guess what? That's still giving. That's into someone else, and you don't get a perceived back from that. So for me, I feel that yes, but I don't feel like you ever get to claim all that you give for it. Here's the thing. The more you get back, you can give more into the house of the Lord, Just because you claim it do not mean that you can't give an additional portion back to the house, you know what I'm saying? Or for a ministry or something that you really feel strongly, in regards to supporting.
Right.
So, yeah, so that's just my opinion on that.
Okay. Well, I agree with you on that, ma'am. So the next slide, we're going to talk about budgeting. So budget is an outline that details your income and living expenses. It is designed to correlate this data into an understandable and logical format. Please understand that your budget is a living document, or documents rather, because there is some other budgeting things, but we're not going to go into all of that in this one. And it adjusts as your life adjusts. Your budget, your income, your expenses, and that's your budget. Well, that really kind of isn't your budget, because a lot of times people are like, oh, well, this is how much I make and this is how much I spend. And they're like, I have this left over. Come on, let's go through it. Okay, well, I have this. And then sometimes I do this. And I say, keep going, because we're going to hit that negative real soon. Saying it's not a negative, that's not possible. I said, yes, it is. It is. Let's keep going and do it. And you keep going time and time again. And here's another caveat that I want to share. When you're doing your budget, also, because some of us don't like to, your credit card. If you have monthly charges on your credit card, that's part of
your budget.
It's part of your monthly spending.
Exactly.
Just come out of your bank account doesn't mean you're not spending it. So these are my top 5 budgeting tips. This one is, don't cut out fun of your budget. Because a lot of times when we construct our budget, we don't budget for, pre the pandemic and everything. People are like, well, I can't go out with friends. I can't do this. I can't buy that. And I'm like, yes, you can. Because if you set up your budget the way you set up a diet where you cut out everything, you're going to get tired. Like you get tired of a diet, you're going to get tired of your budget real quick. Your budget is all about balance and alignment. To go shopping, but you can't shop all the time. And it's easy nowadays with impulse buying. People have the Amazon app. Oh, I like this. Click, 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 and bam, it'll come tomorrow. But we have to find that balance in our budget. We have to also remember that we're people. We need to have fun.
Yes. And I think another thing that I've definitely picked up is, you want to have fun and you want to be able to budget fun into your budget. So it's like, you also need to look and see what's available that's free, in this day and time, what's free, because if you're spending all your money going out, getting your nails done, going out, getting your hair done, going out to eat, just all this stuff like consistently all the time, then that's money that, you're really just losing. For real. I do feel that you can have fun and still be on a budget, because I definitely have fun. It's a lot of stuff that I do and I realize that's available that is free or doesn't cost that much money. And even when I do, even things that I want to do for fun, I put it in my budget because I don't like to be in a negative. And I'm a person that there's a certain amount of money that I invest, there's a certain amount of money that I save, and a certain amount of money for my bills and stuff. I budget my food, my gas. I budget literally everything. And at the end of the day, I don't want to have to go into my savings because I overspent in one area. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to rob from one to get to another. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do, because otherwise you'll never have really money that you can depend on, because you've been unspent it all because you done went over your budget too many times. Or you don't even have a budget and you just go by, I get paid. Oh, I want this, I want that. Oh, I know I got to pay this and I pay that, and then you're living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
Not that you have to, because not everybody got to live paycheck to paycheck, but it's because, you haven't learned that self-control and to really discipline yourself in that area.
That's true. You make a very good point. Sometimes people are like, I need to earn more money. And sometimes it's not that you need to earn more money, it's that you need to curtail your spending, because too much of your money is going out when it should be staying with you. So the next point is, remember that it's a guide, and, with budgeting, there's always going to be something, life happens, there's always going to be something that comes up. But what people don't know or don't think about is, you can start to budget for the unforeseen. You can put that in your budget. You can put an item of 25, 30, whatever it is, for unforeseen expenses, and just let that money stack. So when something unforeseen happens, you've actually been preparing for it. To make mistakes, and budgeting is about commitment. You're going to make mistakes. There are going to be times that you might overspend, and that's okay, because you're changing the way you think about your money. And that changing takes time. And remember that budgeting is a commitment. You have to be committed to it. You can't just budget for 3 months and then be like, all right, I'm going to take the next month off. because it only takes 1 month to undo everything. Sometimes just a day.
So basically, you saying this is a continuous process.
It's definitely a process, but it's one of those things that you can kind of set it and forget it. But with the budget, you also want to attach goals to it, like saving up maybe 3 months, 6 months, however worth of income. What I do is I have kind of two savings. I have one for salary, one for, the anything that happens, just to have income 3 to 6 months worth. But then what I also do is I have another savings that's smaller, and I consider it kind of like my own overdraft protection. And also kind of like overdraft / unforeseen. So that way
Gotcha.
I already have it budgeted. So if there's a big expense that comes up, I can take from that.
And it doesn't, and it doesn't hurt you as much as it would if you wasn't prepared.
Right, because a lot of times, because we don't save and budget effectively, every time something happens, it hits our paycheck. If you've been consistently saving, you don't want to, because a lot of us, if you're single or even if you're married or whatever, you don't want a lot of expenses hitting your paycheck every single time. You want to save so that if something happens, I can just draw from this, and then I don't worry, I have to have this money taken from my paycheck, which means I have to adjust this and adjust that, because that causes a lot of stress. But if you've been saving consistently, you alleviate some of that stress. And I saw this meme that I love, and it's like, money says, if you save me today, or if you save me today, I'll save you tomorrow. So there are 4 budgeting apps that I wanted to recommend: Mint, Pocket Guard, Clarity Money, Good Budget. All of these are free. I think Good Budget has a free and then a paid version. So I know in this day and age, no one wants to spend a whole lot. Budgeting apps are good, and they help you to stay organized. I think some of the others, they might have a paid component, but Good Budget, I really believe, does. But it's just a great way to get yourself organized. Once you get organized, is very important when it comes to budgeting, because then you can see where your money is going. Sometimes your bank will actually have something for you, but again, we have different accounts. People are like, well, I have this charge card, I have that. And it's good if you can aggregate all of that data into one place and really look at, okay, this is how much I spend. Oh, this is why I get paid and I don't have any